Hi YouTube. All right, so I just left my nutrition class for my weight loss surgery. You know what? I just realized I haven't even filled you guys in on that. But I'll make a separate video, and then you guys can watch that one before you watch this one. So I had my second nutrition class today, and let me tell you, I went in there like I've been going so hard. When I tell you I've been going so hard, I'm talking about I've been running, I've been, getting my cardio in, I've been doing squats, I've been doing strength training, and then not only that, but then I've been cutting back on my calories without starving myself, as well as like upping my protein. Like I've been eating really good, in terms of it being a realistic meal plan. That's what I've been doing. And so I was like, okay, I just felt like, I'm gonna get on this scale when I go to my nutrition class, and I'm gonna be like down to the 230s, because I was 246. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be in the 230s by the time I get on this scale. Do you know, I got on the scale and I was the exact same weight that I was at my previous nutrition class, and I got so upset I almost wanted to cry and walk away. I was like, I'm doing all this work and it is for nothing, for absolutely nothing. And I was just so upset about it. And so my nutritionist comes out and she's like, all right, we're gonna go back to the room. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we go back there. She's like, so how are you feeling today? I was like, I was doing okay until I got on the scale. The scale didn't move. And so I was just so disappointed and so disheartened, and just felt like, what am I doing this for? I'm doing all of this work. I'm working so hard, and for the scale to not move an inch. Like, it did not move. I didn't lose anything. I didn't gain anything. I just stayed the exact same. And I was just like, how is that possible? How in the world is that possible? And not only that, but I took a picture from when I first started, or from my last nutrition class. After that class, I took a picture, and then a couple days ago, I took another picture and put them side by side. And you can see like a slight difference in my body shape. So I'm like, I know I've lost something. So why it's not reflecting on the scale, I have no idea. But I was so upset. I was so just like, I'm done. There's no point in me even being here. I'm wasting my time because the scale did not move and I did all this work. So as I'm talking to her, she's like, well, tell me about some of the changes you've made since our last session. So I was like, well, I've been drinking more water. I've been exercising a whole lot more. She's like, well, tell me what kind of exercises you've been doing. I was like, well, I've been doing squats. I've been doing a lot of like strength training exercises, and and I was just explaining the different types of exercises I'm doing. And so and she was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So as I'm talking, she's writing down these notes, and she's like, so what other changes have you made? Are there any changes, within your family and stuff like that? And so I was like, you know what? I was like, well, my son, he's been drinking more water, and he's been wanting to exercise with me, and he's been wanting to do all of these things, because he's copying me. And so it's like, when I get up to do my workout, he's like, Mommy, are you getting ready to work out? And I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm getting ready to work out. So he's like, I want to do exercise with you. And I'm like, all right, come on, baby. And then my husband, he's been working out. So we've been doing family runs and stuff together. We've been doing family walks. We've been doing like different exercises together. He's been drinking more water. And then this is a man who is so picky about food, it's ridiculous. And he has been eating different fruits. And that's a huge thing, because he does not like, he likes fruit, but there's certain ones he likes, certain ones he will not touch. And he's been trying different fruits just for the sake of being healthy. And so as I'm listing all these different things, she goes, well, I want to address a couple concerns. So your first concern was that the scale didn't move. So I want to show you something. So she pulls out an example of fat and an example of muscle. She said, what I'm suspecting is that you're burning fat, but you're gaining muscle. So that's probably why the scale is not moving. But and in that moment, I was like, that is so true. And then she started reading back. She was like, okay. And then after, one thing I've noticed during our discussion is you've been making all these different changes within your family. One of your goals was you want to pass on health to your family and set a good example for your kids. And you're accomplishing that goal because your son is wanting to work out now and wanting to drink more water now and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that is true. And so she starts going through one by one, like, she's like, you've made changes here, you've made changes here, you've made changes here. I've counted about 7 or 8 changes already that you've made within the past month, which is huge. And so I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about that, because my whole thought process was like, all this hard work is going to reflect on the scale. This number on the scale is going to move. I'm going to be losing weight. I'm going to be getting snatched. I'm about to have my summer body. I'm about to, be on my hot girl summer vibes, and y'all can't tell me nothing. And so not seeing the scale move, I was basing my success on my scale and the number on the scale, as opposed to measuring my success in terms of my non-scale victories. And so as we were in the session today, it clicked. Like, I'm like, you know what? I have to stop. I can't look at the number on the scale. I will take my measurements though, only because I want to, like, with my strength training. And let me back up a little bit. So with my strength training, one major goal that I have is I want to get into bodybuilding. I don't know if I want to compete or anything like that, but just the physique of a bodybuilder, like, I want that. I want to be toned. I want to have these different muscles, defined and things like that. Excuse me. So because I want that, I feel like being stronger physically is going to make me feel stronger mentally and emotionally. And so I want that kind of strength, because I feel like when it comes to how I work, like, I am mentally, like, I am a strong worker. Like, how I operate at work, I make my plans, I make my schedules, I stick to it, and I get results, and so I want to have that same mindset when it comes to how I work out. So when I'm working out, I want to know, like, okay, with my squats, I've been doing squats, and I'm trying to figure out how to change my posture so that way I actually work my glutes and not just my my thigh muscles or my quads. And so that's why I want to take my measurements, so I can see, okay, is this exercise effective in doing what I want my body to do in regard to it. And so there was only one measurement I took between the beginning of this class and or the beginning of this process up until now, and that was my breast measurement. When I went in for my consultation for my breast reduction, from collarbone to nipple, I was 22 inches. And as it stands right now, I am 16 3/4, so about 17 inches from collarbone to nipple now. And so that in itself is a victory, because for my breast reduction, my doctor said the smallest he can get me down to is probably a double D, because that would be safest because of how big they were at that time. So now that my breasts are smaller, and I'm going to talk to him about this just to verify, but if my thinking is correct, then I'm hoping I can get to the size that I actually want to be, which is a D to a C cup. And so one of the issues that he had was because the distance was so long from collarbone to nipple, that trying to keep my nipples would be more difficult, because the safe range is is within 20 inches, and I was just outside of it at 22. So now that I'm inside of it, and inside of that range and then some, because I'm at 17 inches, it's much more possible for me to be able to keep my nipples, because that was a concern I had, not so much for me but for my husband, because I'm like, shoot, I don't care, I've had 3 kids, I've breastfed, I've done what I need to do, and my boobs have served their purpose. Now I'm like, you want to take the nipple, keep them, I don't care. But for my husband, that's something that he would have to adjust to. And in talking to him, he was honest. He's like, I don't know how I would feel about it. And so I'm like, well, just prepare yourself, because it is a high possibility, because I'm getting my breast reduction regardless. So, but the nipple part, it's possible that I'm not going to have my nipples. So that's just something that we're going to have to, figure out how to get past, if that's the case. But I did pray, because I was like, God, I don't mind if my nipples are missing, but for the sake of my husband, can, if it's possible, like, just please let me be able to keep my nipples. And so, so when I started working out, I didn't even think about that as a goal, that my boobs would shrink. And so because they've shrunk, like I said, and they're in the safe zone now. So I'm excited to think that, you know what, I can probably it's probably a better chance that I'll be able to keep my nipples. So I'm excited. And then not only that, but then, like I said, they'll be the size that I want them to be, which is like a D to a C cup. I'm like, I want to be this close to flat chested. So, and that's because of a few things. Number one, because I have really big boobs, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't equate to my like, it doesn't play a huge role in my femininity. It's like, my boobs are big, and it's more of a pleasure for men to look at, and things like that. It benefits them more than it benefits me. So I'm not hugely pressed on making sure that my boobs are still, voluptuous or whatever, even though they'll be smaller. It's like, no, listen, because I want to take up bodybuilding, like, and I really want to take on that, I'm not pressed about, having big boobs, because that's going to hinder me from my major goal. So, it's like, of course, I still want to look like a woman, but at the same time, like, I don't want to wear a t-shirt or wear a tank top and feel like, I got to put a jacket on or something over it because my boobs are still popping out. Like, I hate that. Like, that's one of my biggest things. It's like, I felt like when it came to the way that I dressed, it's like I dressed like an older woman, because that's what would fit me and that's what would cover me up. It's like, even when I'm wearing t-shirts and stuff like that, I still feel like, I'm 40, 50 years old trying to look young, you know what I mean? As opposed to being a 31-year-old who is young, hello. And just trying to dress like, my peers, or dress comfortably. So I'm really excited to be able to dress how I want to dress, and for my body to be able to perform how I want it to perform after my breast reduction. So, but yeah, so I say all of this to say, when it comes to weight loss, don't focus on the number on the scale, because it may or may not move depending on what your body's doing. Focus on what your goal is, your physical goal. Like, are you getting the shape that you want? Are you getting the muscle definition that you want? Is your body doing what you want it to do? If you're losing weight so that way you can keep your mobility, or so that way your knees stop hurting? It's like, is that being accomplished? Look at it in terms of that, as opposed to looking at it like, okay, I was 246 last month, and I'm still 246 this month, and I've been working my butt off. Like, I really had to take a moment, and I'm glad that she walked me through it and actually showed me my progress. And that's something I don't do often, is stop and take stock in, like, I can look at all my flaws all day long, but it's rare that I actually look back on my successes. So to sit down and go through my successes with my nutritionist and see and see the victory and see the changes that I've made, and seeing that I put a goal out there and I'm accomplishing my goal. Like, that is such a huge thing to me. And it wasn't even, and it's like, and how quickly my mind changed just by saying, look, you know what? I can't define my success by the number on that scale. I can't, because my body, I want my body to be more than just that number. And so I'm thankful that, you know, I was able to sit down with my nutritionist and go through that kind of stuff. And we sit back and look at the changes that I have made. I'm so excited about it, and I'm excited about the things to come. And it was so funny because, like, going into this process, my mind was like, all right, I got to do my 3 nutrition classes, do my 2 classes for my 2 psych eval classes, or whatever you call them, and then, you know, get my endoscopy and then get my surgery, and I'll be on my way to Skinnyville, you know. And then and then actually sitting back and going through the process and talking to my nutritionist, it's like I'm starting to consider if I'll even need the surgery, because I'm actually using the tools to get the results that I want. And so the whole thing for the weight loss surgery was, and I understood going into it that this weight loss surgery is not the end all be all. It is a tool to get me to where I want to be. But if I'm, you know, if I'm creating this formula for myself to get my body to do what I want it to do, and this way is working, then I may not need the weight loss surgery. So, I mean, I'm still gonna stay on my weight loss surgery track, but if I, you know, as it stands right now, I may reach my goal before I even get to the surgery, because I have to, after my breast reduction, I have to wait 3 months to get the VSG surgery. And so, so by the time those 3 months come, they said 3 to 6 months. So by the time that 3 to 6 months comes, I may be where I want to be, because I'm already seeing results. Like, I'm physically seeing results and getting my body to do what I want it to do. And with the breast reduction, I think that's going to help my mobility to be able to do even more and push my body even more when it comes to the weight training and the strength training and the, you know, the weightlifting and stuff like that. But anyway, that's just something I want to share with you guys this morning. I'm really excited. I'm really happy to be on this journey. And so one thing, another video that I want to make in the future is like some recipe videos, because I've been seeing different things that I want to try, so that way I can get more protein in. And so I've been seeing these different like high protein recipes that I want to try. So I think I might make some videos in regards to that. That's one of my goals for this month, is to get a menu together where my protein is high. My protein is higher. And yeah, just, you know, I think that'll be a fun adventure. But anyway, I think I've kept you guys long enough. Thank you guys for watching my video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.